Hello, hello. How are you all? I'm so excited to be here with you all today. My name is Billy Krishan. I'm a DC native and an actor here in the city. And I'm going to be reading the land acknowledgement. Woolly Mammoth acknowledges that the theater stands upon the ancestral homeland of the Nuktunk, whose descendants belong to the Piscataway peoples. Furthermore, the foundation of this city and most of the original buildings in Washington, D.C. were funded by the sale of enslaved people of African descent and built by their hands. It's important to say because it's imperative as a company and as a people to pay respect to those who have come before us and continually honor the indigenous people and the enslaved who still lived in our communities. Thank you, thank you. Hello, hello. Welcome to Woolly Mammoth and the launch of Theater Week.
So I'm Maria Manuela Goyanes. I'm the artistic director of Woolly Mammoth, and I'm so thrilled that we can host this event, and especially to have the mayor of DC here because she does so much to support the arts in this city. We are so, so lucky to have her here. Our federal government may still be learning how to collaborate, but theater people know how to do it. And that's why I love Theater Week, because we succeed when we support each other and when we work together. So enjoy Theater Week and all DC Theater has to offer. And now for a performance by Kim Bay, cast member of Something Moving, a meditation on Maynard at Ford's Theater.
So, we went down there all dressed up in our Sunday clothes and got in line behind a whole lot of other dressed up and dressed down people. I had never been to City Hall before, not even to pay my water bill. And now here I was, standing in line to see the mayor. Oh. They brought me a little folding chair because I'm old. And the nice young woman with the clipboard wrote down my name and asked me if I was a relative, since I'm a Jackson too. But I said, no kin. Then she asked me, why do I want to see him? And I said, well, that's between him and me, if you don't mind. She said she didn't, and she smiled to show there were no hard feelings. Now, it didn't take long before she opened up the door and stepped aside, and there he was. Oh. Well, you know how some people say bigger than life? Well, I usually don't go along with that because how can you be bigger than life, which is everything all rolled up into one? But he was all of that and a bag of chips. And just as nice as he could be, he shook my hand and offered me a seat on the couch. Then he took a chair across from me and sat down and smiled and said, so, Mrs. Jackson, what can I do for you? And I smiled right back and I said, he didn't need to do a thing for me except take a seat behind that big old desk and let me see what it looks like to have a black man in the mayor's chair. So he stood up. Walked around and sat down, just as natural as he could be. How do I look, Mrs. Jackson? He said. Oh, you look fine. Of course. You look just fine.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our official kickoff of Theater Week in DC. I'm Doug Brown. I'm playing Citizen 3 in Ford's Theater's world premiere of Something Moving, A Meditation on Maynard by Pearl Clegg. I'm here with my colleagues and castmates, sorry, Billy Krishan, Kim Bay, who you just heard from, Tom Story, and Susan Rome. We are thrilled to have Mayor Bowser here with us today to help celebrate this community's rich theater experience. What makes Theater Week such a marquee event for Washingtonians is our collective celebration of storytelling. For example, in Something Moving, I, along with my castmates, portray ordinary Atlanta citizens who do something extraordinary by electing Atlanta's first black mayor, Maynard Jackson. Something Moving explores the significance of Maynard's once-in-a-lifetime election that turned Atlanta into a progressive example of the New South on the eve of its 50th anniversary. By retelling the stories of people who witnessed the election and showing what it felt like to be there, our citizens learn more about Maynard and themselves. Look around you, and you will see that every theater right now has something for someone. And the best part of Theater Week is the ability to experience and discover new works and shows with discounted tickets. And special events also that are designed to entertain, educate, and inspire. So, without further ado, I am pleased to introduce Mayor Muriel Bowser. Oh, there you are. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for that introduction. Well, give Doug a big round of applause. It's always difficult to follow an actor, but I'll do my best. I am just really delighted to be here today, and I am so pleased with all of the organizers and people behind DC Theater Week. Let's hear it for them as well. We know that without theater or the arts that we would live in a black and white world, and we prefer a colorful world. And that's part of what the arts bring to us. So we want to thank all the performers who bring that color and vibrancy to our city. And we know that one of the best ways we can show our appreciation is by purchasing tickets, is by going out to the theater, taking a friend to the theater, talking about the theater, and filling our theater seats. And Theater Week, as we just heard, is a great opportunity to do that, and to do that all across our city. So this week, between September 21st and October 8th, you can go to 25 productions in Washington, D.C., with tickets priced from $20, $40, or $60, or otherwise some people's Starbucks tab for the week. And there's something for everyone, as we heard. Plays, improv, the classics, new works. Theater Week has it all. And we are going to kick off at Arena Stage on September 23rd and learn all about our options. So we have, as we know, a fantastic theater scene in Washington, and we want everybody to know that. So here at the Woolly Mammoth, at the Anacostia Playhouse, in the new Anacostia Arts and Culture District, and at the Mosaic on 8th Street, at the Kennedy Center, and at Gala Hispanic. We have theater at the Ford's Theater, of course, downtown, and at Arena Stage. At theaters big and small, the well-known theaters and lesser-known theaters, artists are putting on amazing shows. And Theater Week is a fantastic opportunity to expose our young people to the theater as well. So we know that many of our kids, our older ones, can sit through a full show, or they should learn how to sit through a full show. And we want our kids to know the history of theater in DC, including Black Broadway, the Lincoln Theater and Howard Theater, and more. And we also want them to be able to see that art is being made around them every day, not just during 202 Creates Month that we also celebrate in September. So let me say thank you to Events DC and Destination DC, Humanities DC, and the Downtown Bid for putting their minds towards the creative economy in Washington, DC, how to support our artists, and how to make sure that we're bringing our city to life. Now, we know that sometimes people only think of New York City when they think of theater, and that's wrong. They should also look close to home and know that we are spreading the word about our town in the theater. And we know that A Strange Loop, which won a Tony for Best Musical in 2022, was right here at the Woolly Mammoth before it went on to Broadway. So we know that a lot of magic happens in DC, and sometimes that's where the magic starts. So I want to introduce a tireless advocate for the arts and culture in our city. Amy Austin has been leading this organization since 2015, and among her many accomplishments include her service to Destination DC, where she received the John Conyers Jr. Advocacy Award for the DC Jazz Festival. I would like to present Amy and her organization this letter celebrating the return of Theater Week. Please join me in welcoming Amy Austin. Greetings from all 700,000 of us.
Oh,
all right.
That's so great.
There
Thank
you are, Amy. I'll hold it for you.
Much. I didn't know I was going to get a present. That is really, really generous. I'm just so grateful you are here and all of your staff and so many of the press and theaters. It's really, really exciting to be celebrating Theater Week with all of you to talk about its impact on the region and what it's about. So theater is about collaboration. It's about empathy, and it's about us sharing collective space together, all of which are so vitally important at all times, and particularly in these times. And Theater Week sort of shows how all those things come together so beautifully. And we, Theater Washington, we pull out all the stops for Theater Week, and we provide many opportunities to get together in different ways throughout the district with 3 free events, and you'll hear about more of those today. But the one celebration we love, well, we love them all, but the celebration I want to refer to is the Kickoff Fest that happens at Arena Stage, and we'll have 40 resident theater companies at Arena Stage, and we'll also have local restaurants and beverage companies like Just Iced Tea, who's with us today, and they'll offer free food and drink samples. Oh, and Carmine's will be there, who's also with us today. So there'll be plenty of things for everybody to do. It's a full day of conversations, workshops, demonstrations, performances, and lots of surprise happenings. Think sword fights. And so it's really a chance to discover, to really look in a full day of what the theater community is all about. Theater Washington, we're dedicated to celebrating, recognizing, and strengthening the local theater community. And we do that because we have such strong collaborative partnerships. So I want to thank the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities, Humanities DC, Events DC, the Office of the Mayor, the Office of Cable Television, Film, Media and Entertainment, Todaytix, who's a digital gateway to live shows, arts, and cultural experiences, is our official ticketing partner. We couldn't do this without them. And we also have a hotel partner because Theater Week is a time you can come and stay overnight in a hotel and go see 4 shows. And that's the Van at Embassy Row. And then there are so many, I'm so grateful, the theater leadership in this room today. There are so many of you here. I am so grateful that for what you do every day, how you show up every day, the work that's so important and is so hard to do well. And there are so many of you here today to really be collaborative and work together. And that is the real strength of this theater community. So I'd like to turn the stage over to a couple of our strong partners, Garen Price, President and CEO of Downtown Bid, and he will be followed by Elliot Ferguson, President and CEO of Destination DC. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy, and thank you, Mayor Bowser. What an exciting kickoff to Theater Week. It's a pleasure to have you all here today, and it is a pleasure for me to be here in this room. One of the things I love about theater is that the minute you walk into a theater, you can just start to feel the joy, you start to feel the creativity, you start to feel the humanity. And so it's just a beautiful thing to be here today. Thank you to our performer today, really remarkable. I am no actor myself and won't pretend to be one, but I'll try to be a little bit of a historian today. And Oscar Wilde, the playwright and poet, once said, the greatest of all art forms, the most immediate way, theater is the greatest of all art forms because it's the most immediate way in which a human being can share with another the sense of what it is to be a human being. And we believe there is power and there's so much to benefit from amazing Theater Week. And we are excited about all the theater opportunities right here in DC. Now, I serve as president and CEO of the Downtown DC Business Improvement District, and for decades, DC's downtown has been anchored by theaters that offer a variety of performances and truly have something for everyone. Now, there are currently 8 theaters here in downtown DC, and 4 of them are participating in Theater Week. That includes the historic Fords, the stalwart Shakespeare, the small but mighty Washington Stage Guild, and of course, right here where all is being kicked off, the wonderful, groundbreaking, amazing Woolly Mammoth Theater. So thank you all for being a part of Theater Week. Now, we at the Downtown DC Bid are big believers, and we are working closely with the mayor in what it takes to bring downtown DC back. And we are fully thinking about the reimagination of downtown and the true and full recovery of downtown. And theater is a big part of that because of what it represents in terms of arts and culture. Now, I have no doubt that this year's Theater Week will be a true boost for the performing arts community. We are so excited to see what it does this year. I want to invite every person here in the district to please come out and celebrate. I love what the mayor said. You show your celebration and appreciation by buying tickets. So please support it, invite a friend, tell family. What a great time to celebrate our theater here in DC. So thank you all. Now I'm going to turn to my colleague, friend, and the amazing leader of Destination DC, Elliot Ferguson.
Good morning, everyone. So, you know, sometimes when we're out promoting DC as a destination, the first perception that people have is that I can't wait to come for monuments, memorials, and museums, and that federal experience, which we embrace. We appreciate the fact that that's part of the reason why people come to Washington. Now, selfishly, Destination DC is primarily focused on bringing people from outside of the Washington community to Washington. As Amy said, staying in hotels, heads in beds, butts in seats, theaters, restaurants, and spending money. So we love Washingtonians coming to events, but for us, it's about how do we promote DC in a way whereas people see beyond the federal experience. Amy Austin and Theater Week plays a huge role in that. We just finished the DC Jazz Festival and Restaurant Week in Washington, D.C., talking about the amazing food experience and, of course, jazz in Washington, which brought people to the city. Theater Week will do the same thing, thanks to the mayor, thanks to Events DC, and, of course, the amazing theater community. You all give us an opportunity to promote DC in a different way. For us, $8.1 billion is tied to visitors coming to Washington and physically spending money. I live in Washington. I want things to happen in Washington that are not necessarily tied to me paying taxes, but for visitors to pay taxes. So there's an important aspect of economic impact tied to visitors coming to Washington. Theater Week for us gives us that opportunity. Now, I was listening to the artisans that were talking about Maynard Jackson. I lived in Washington for 10 years, and I know Maynard III, his son and his daughter-in-law, very, very well. They're very good friends of mine, and I can't wait to talk to them and share with them what's happening in Washington, D.C., as they now live on the West Coast. And Maynard Jackson played such a huge role in not only politics, but of course, positioning the Black community in a political way similar to what our mayor does. So being able to be a part of something like theater in Washington, D.C. really codifies why Washington is a unique destination. The mayor was a part of what we showcased just a couple of weeks ago when we launched our new campaign, There's Only One D.C. And clearly there's only one D.C. There's only one place that you can do things in Washington that are unique to our destination. Theater, yes, you can do theater in other destinations, but only in D.C. can you see first runs of major events all over our destination, not just in downtown, but in our neighborhoods as a whole. So we're excited about Theater Week. Washington.org is our website. We will be promoting Theater Week to visitors as a way to get them to come to Washington, even if they live in Gaithersburg. Come to Washington, stay in a hotel, eat in our restaurants, and of course enjoy amazing theater in Washington. So we're excited, clearly. There's only one D.C. That's our messaging, thanks to the mayor, and that's what we'll be talking about to those visitors that are coming to the city, by the way, to the tune of over 21 million last year. We're still doing well with visitation. We're seeing more international visitation coming online, and they want to come to Washington and experience things above and beyond the federal experience. So Theater Week gives us that opportunity, not just during Theater Week, but year-round, and we're excited about that. So Amy, an amazing board member of Destination DC, I remember when she came on board, she says, let's make sure we don't forget about theaters. I was like, but Amy, look at what we do. And she says, okay, I get it. You definitely are focusing on theater in Washington, D.C. So that is our charge. We're excited. And Amy, I look forward to hearing more about Theater Week as you come back to the podium.
Now we're going to welcome up some more of our wonderful, amazing performers, Susan Rome and Tom Story, who are part of the cast of Something Moving.
Hi, my name is Tom Story, and I am an actor and a director and a teacher, and I live in Adams Morgan, and I've lived there for 15 years. I moved to DC in the 7th grade and from Panama, which was a bit of a culture shock. And the first show that I saw was at Ford's Theater, and it was Elmer Gantry, the musical, and it changed me. And then I met this amazing teacher in the suburbs who would bring me to this city every weekend to see shows. And that also changed me, and my love of theater and everything I kind of know about the world came from that. At Arena, in one season, I saw Merrily We Roll Along by Sondheim and The Seagull by Chekhov, and it was like I was opened up to the world. I went away, and Michael Kahn, I went to Juilliard where Michael Kahn taught me, and he would bring me back to Carter Barron every summer to be in the ensemble of Shakespeare plays. I worked all over the country, but eventually I knew that there was something very special about this community. And what mattered to me about art lives here and still lives here. I'm so thrilled that Ford's Theater casts all local actors. It is, after the pandemic, I thought, what do I want to say? You know, what do I care about? And I care about that. I care about this community. I care about Billy Krishan, who's starting a clothing swap and a child care service. I care about new stories. I knew nothing about Maynard Jackson. And my nephew's AP African American history class is going to come to the show. So maybe some queer little 14-year-olds like me will be changed. And so that's what I have to say, and that's why I love being here. And now I introduce my dear friend Susan Rome.
Thank you. Tom was off book. I am not. Besides the world-class talent that Tom alluded to that lives here, do you know what else makes DC a great theater town? The audiences.
DC audiences, they want to engage with the work, they want to be challenged, they are complex, they're intelligent, and they're curious. They stay for talkbacks. They want to talk more about the experience. DC audiences also feel like they know their local actor. Thank you so much, Tom. They know their local actors because they've seen so many of us in shows. They call us by name and they expect us to know them too. But they especially know us from the theaters that are committed to hiring from this deep pool of local talent. These engaged patrons play a pivotal role in making this city a great theater town. I don't live in Adams Morgan or Gaithersburg. I commute here from Baltimore because as an artist, I want the dream of home ownership to be a reality. And I'm sorry, it's just too expensive to live here. But I love working here. So I do call the theaters where I work, they are creative homes. They are artistic homes for me. As a local actor, I love feeling like we are all a huge rep company. This is the third time in a year I've had the great joy of working with Billy Krishan. And we develop, we feel like a rep company, this entire community of actors. We develop a shorthand in communicating and collaborating with one another. And we can watch each other soar and continue to grow, and we inspire one another through our developing our excellence in the craft. As a former public school, middle school history teacher, I am especially kind of geeked out to engage audiences with the story of Maynard Jackson, literally under the shadow of Lincoln's box. Gives me chills to think about it. We started spacing last night, and I just feel, whew, it's powerful. So the synergy that exists is powerful, and it typifies how magical and transporting theater can be. I'm so honored to be a member of this vibrant DC theater community. Now I would like to bring Mayor Bowser back up to the podium to answer questions that are on topic for DC Theater Week, and thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll take press questions first. Any questions? Yes, Tom?
Mayor, walking here, I saw quite a few empty retail spots. What can you say about your effort to get more retail to fill some of these stores just within blocks of here?
Well, we're talking about the theater today and how people are supporting it. And all the things that we want to happen for our downtown involve more people being there. And that includes workers, that includes shoppers and diners, theater goers, special event goers, and the like. And what we have seen over the last several weeks is that energy returning, and we have some objective evidence to point to. I was with Metro yesterday, who told me they had a weekday ridership day that exceeded pre-pandemic levels. I was with the Amtrak CEO a couple of days ago, and Amtrak is exceeding pre-pandemic levels. And both include visitors, because certainly our domestic visitation is almost where we want it. International is growing, and our number of federal workers is also increasing. So all of the things that we want to make a vibrant downtown and indeed a vibrant city are trending in the right way. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. Denise Rolark Barnes with the Washington Informer. As a lifelong resident, I know that theater in D.C. has had its peaks and valleys. Right now, it looks like we're peaking. And I want to know what you think has driven not only the greater attendance in audiences, but the greater number of theaters that we have across the city. To me, I'm getting personal here, but it's been an amazing growth.
Fantastic.
But how has that happened?
Well, I'm going to ask Amy to give her feedback, but let me just tell you from my point of view, I think the resurgence of DC life and culture has happened over the last 20 years. Some of it has been with the district's investment in theater. You know the big investments that we have made in theaters and buildings and continue to make. We're very proud of our Arts and Humanities Commission investment in theater, and that we have supported stable funding of the arts to include theaters. There's a lot to do. The thing about theaters, you make one big investment, just like any other building. You know this well. You have to keep making investments. And so I think that we have done a lot more than other places to make that happen. But that goes hand in hand with a growing restaurant scene. You know well that we weren't always known for our restaurants. Now we are. We just celebrated Restaurant Week to go along with that. But I have to say a little bit more about what we heard from our actors. We have talented people here, and we have to invest in them too, to make sure that they can make a living here and afford to live and work here. So that is an ongoing effort in a city like ours. I don't know, Amy, if you want to add anything.
I think you covered it all.
Okay. We're doing it. Not by accident, though. I think that you'll hear from a lot of people involved here, but there have been concerted efforts over many years. Yes.
One question, Mayor, you didn't say it, but one of the speakers did. They said that there were 8 theaters downtown and 4 were participating. I guess my question is, why aren't the others participating?
I don't know the answer to that one. Let me turn. Okay.
So I'm trying, I did not, that 8 number. So I'm thinking, yes, they are. So National Theater would be one on the list who is participating. So that gets us to 5. It depends on how you describe, how you boarded downtown. But all the theater, okay, I have an example. Warner Theater is not participating, but they don't have a theater show in there right now, but they're a great theater in our community right down the street in downtown. So there may be examples like that. But all the theaters who have shows, or if they don't have shows, some of them have shows in October and not in the month that we're doing Theater Week. Everybody's participating. When I talked before about the Kickoff Fest, where we have 40 theaters coming, that's not all of them either, but there's 40 that are going to be there. So it's a really great, diverse, rich community. But I am serious when I say they are very collaborative with each other at an organizational level and on an artistic level, as we heard from Susan and Tom. Thanks.
Hello, I'm David Smith of The Guardian. I just wonder if you could talk about the relationship between theatre and the world of politics in Washington. Like, do you think plays about politics strike a particular chord here? And would you like to see members of Congress come out and support Theatre Week? And
Absolutely, they should support Theatre Week, members of the administration. And I believe they do. I think that the federal political class supports in many ways our restaurants and nightlife, and are out at the theater, at the Kennedy Center, at a number of our theaters I know are frequented by theater lovers all over the spectrum.
Let me come up for this one too. So one of the things I know to be true is that our artistic community takes that responsibility very seriously of who is in the House. And so there are congressmen in the House. There are Supreme Court judges in the House. There are local politicians in the House. We have a lot to give in that conversation to those leaders. We bring them in together in the same room. Sometimes, they don't want to be in the same room, but when you're in the theater, you are in the same room. So I know that our institutions take this obligation very seriously, and the stories that they tell are really impactful, and they're always about now. I mean, they may be a history like the Maynard show, but they are about right now in the stories that we tell.
Okay. Yes.
I think anyone in this room can agree that there's a healing nature to the arts. You talked about our students. Certainly, I think a lot of our students are in need of some healing, especially post-pandemic. How do you encourage more students throughout DCPS and throughout DC to come to Theater Week and then beyond to experience the healing nature of the arts?
That's a great question. I don't know if we have an existing partnership with our schools, but let me follow up with that, Delia, because we certainly we have a number of fantastic theater programs from our littlest learners who are doing productions in our elementary schools all the way up to the Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And so we want to encourage them and for them to get a taste of what it means to be a working actor, because that's really important for our kids who are studying to be working actors. All right, I will take a couple community questions, and if there are any other press questions, I'll take them on my way out. Any community questions? Okay, thank you, everybody.